Good evening, everybody. This is one of those things where I just leave it run for a minute while everybody is, you know, logging in and typing questions and all that stuff. So while you're doing that, I'm gonna be futzing with the sound here. See if I can hear anything I'm saying, which means you can hear what I'm saying. Let's check. Hey, good evening. Look, that was me. All right. So yeah, this is Ask Mike Anything, the show where you you type in and ask me anything. Um, why would you want to know what I think about anything? Well, that is a good question, and you could write it and ask it if you like. But for those of you that don't know me, that maybe just stumbled onto this, that maybe you're for some reason Facebook decided to throw this into your feed for some reason, some type of glitch. You don't know who I am. My name is Mike. I'm a pastor. I serve two churches in Southeast Michigan. I have thoughts on varying and diverse things. So feel free to ask your number or ask your question, and I will do my best to answer it. And if I don't see questions for a little bit, that's okay. I have some randomly chosen questions. We can always get to my journal from when I was 11. That's always fun, and all that. So yeah. John Reynolds. Why is 42 a good number in baseball? I don't know. I don't know what that means. 42 for me is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. That's why I use 42 for my math questions. I have no idea what it has to do with baseball. So, oh, Carrie, can Bree make some Bernie mittens? I sure hope so. I will talk to her about that. I have seen popping up on the internet the crocheted Bernie Sanders dolls, where like he's sitting with the mittens, and I keep sending her pictures of those, hoping she'll make one, because I'd love to have that sitting on a shelf in my office. That'd be great. All right. So while you're all typing questions, while you're all filing in and all that stuff, I am going to take one of my question cards. This is from the Would You Rather deck. And the Would You Rather is, would you rather be single for a year? This includes no dating, or go on bad dates for a year straight. The answer to this one may surprise you as I think about that. Because I have no problem with the idea of being single for a year, including going on no dates. The one that intrigues me, though, is going on bad dates for a year straight. I feel like that would be my choice, to go on bad dates for a year straight, assuming that's like 365 bad dates, and then just take notes and write a book about it. I think that would be phenomenal, to write a book about all the bad dates that I went on over the course of a year. So that's what I would do with that. I do appreciate any questions you got. Hit me up. Otherwise, I might have to go to the peanut gallery. All right. Do another from the deck here. If you had to pick a new name for yourself, what would you pick? If I had to pick a new name for myself, I would probably go with Luke Skywalker. No. I definitely be like Han Solo. I don't know. If I had to, like, gun to my head, pick a new name now. Yeah, Han Solo. Han Solo would be the way to go. All right. It would not be Baby Yoda. I would not name myself Baby Yoda. All right. We'll go to another question. You guys aren't very inquisitive tonight. That's okay. I just got done with my first SPRC meeting in quite a while. Hang on. I can't pick someone else's name. I don't think that's like. So I just have to make up a name like Bleeblorg or something. No, I think I can pick. I think I can pick Han Solo, or maybe Sean Solo, Mike Solo, Joe Solo. I don't know. Or, all right. All right. So, Carrie asks, COVID vaccine or no vaccine? If you're talking about the current state of things, for me, currently I have no vaccine. Will I take the COVID vaccine when it gets to people like me being able to take it? Probably. All of the research I have looked at has me fairly confident. That at very least, the COVID vaccine is not going to make things worse. And that was always my big concern. Hey, Jeffy Pooh. How are you? Buddy, I so love the caricature you did. I'm so glad you're doing those. That's a lot of fun. All right, my dad asked for us for a tease for the Green Mile on Sunday. Here's what I can tell you. As of right now, I have not decided what scripture I'm preaching from, which means right now Andy doesn't have the music that we're going to have for Sunday. I do not have any bit of it planned out. So yeah, it's gonna be a surprise for me too at this point. I have ideas. I have notes on different ways I might go. I'm just not sure yet. And as you know, Father O' mine and Jeff, there was a lot of emotion happening yesterday that I had to recover from today. So I didn't get worship as planned as I would have liked. Let's see. What advice, as from Kathy Orslin, would you give a 33-year-old young man currently and temporarily living back with his parents? I live with my mom, right? Well, my mom lives with us. And if you had told me at 23 or 33 that I'd be living with one or both of my parents, yeah, that wouldn't have been top on my list. What I would give to that 33, the advice I would give to that 33-year-old young man is hang in there. It is temporary. I think I know who you're talking about, Kathy. So I would say deep breaths. Enjoy this time, because you're not likely to get a time like that again. And while it may be awkward and may feel like a step backwards, it's not. There are opportunities, and I think ultimately it will be okay. So, the parents, what advice would I give the parents in that situation? Give that young man a wide berth. figuring out who you are, what life is going to be, where you want to be. Um, it is a journey, especially these days. Back when you were that age, back when there were simpler ways of looking at things. There was a simpler worldview. Um, the what we believed. I mean, even I'm a little older than that, but even my generation was told, go to college so you can get a good job, so you can, get all of the things, and that's the American dream, whatever. Um, and that's, as parents, that's what parents told us. That's what their parents told, told you. And you end up, when you get to this generation, you find out that that's kind of a bunch of malarkey. You can't just go to college and get a good job. And, we have people with advanced degrees who can barely get a job flipping burgers. It becomes difficult. So be patient with the young man in that situation. Be patient. Give a wide berth and lots of encouragement. And yeah, about it. How do you feel about the resurgence of the mullet? I think it was a travesty the first time, and it's a travesty now. What is your ranking of all Star Wars films from best to worst? Oh, Jeff. Seriously, after 4, 5, and 6, it kind of, I would probably go 4, 5, 6, and then to the end, and I can almost throw out 1, 2, and 3 altogether. Would be my my preference there. I do remember liking Rogue One, which was kind of an in-betweener there. And then yeah, I like The Mandalorian a lot. So those kinds of things I like. When we get back into the first couple, the prequels, those kind of they rub me wrong. So, but 4, 5, and 6 would be 1, 2, and 3 for me, and then the newer ones are they continue the story. So, though I got to say I love when we get Master Luke back. All right, tell us about your favorite pet, past or present. So favorite pet now. I mean, it would have to go with my kids, right? No, just kidding. Though they are sitting on the floor here like good little pets. Right now, of the 3 cats we have, our oldest cat is probably my favorite, just because she has outlived all the odds and has become really kind of cool in her old age. Past, well, we had a dog when I was young. His name was Captain. He was kind of a curly-haired mutt that I absolutely loved. My first love, but then all-time favorite would be my dog Talitha. She was just an amazing dog, amazing companion, lots of fun, and she our son Carl passed away on a Friday. Talitha passed away the Monday before that, and it was it's a devastating week, but it did my soul good to know. Good to know that Talitha went on to greet Carl when he got there. So, All right. Oh, Sarah Lynn, what is my most useless talent? That's a hard question to ask me because I don't know that any of my talents are useless because they can annoy very well. Probably this would be the most useless. Seconded to this, which is just on the other side. So that'd be about it. Tickling is kind of useless, but I'm very good at it. So and it drives my kids nuts. So. All right. Keep those questions coming in. I'm going to go to another card here. And it is, what will people look back at us 50 years from now? What will people look back at us 50 years from now and be shocked and appalled by? Probably our inability to exist in the same universe. I have really come to a moment of clarity on things this week. In having some conversations online, that there really are multiple universes on top of each other, but we're able to interact. I had a conversation with a former classmate about kids getting to do sports right now, and how horrible it is that the governor of Michigan won't let kids do sports. And like all of the arguments that kids, it's good for their development, it's good for their mental health. I agree with all of that. That's absolutely true. But in a pandemic, we have to sacrifice for each other. We have to find new ways to accomplish the same things. So one of the issues is mental health, and I had somebody telling me how they have a kid who has severe anxiety and depression, and sports are what do it for their kid. Well, there are other coping mechanisms. There are other things we can do when we're dealing with anxiety and depression. And here's the thing: that organized sports, at the end of the day, the number of people who wind up in professional sports versus people who play through high school and maybe a little bit of college and then they're done, those kids are probably going to have to figure something else out. But we live in a different universe where for them a pandemic, they just don't think it's a thing. And when you are living in such different universes, it is very difficult to have a conversation. So that's what I think people are going to be appalled by, is the fact that in the midst of a pandemic, with all of the technology and science and information at our fingertips, we couldn't figure stuff out. Let's see. Best practical joke. I'm gonna go with probably the sleeping hand in a pan of warm water makes somebody wet their bed. I've never been super big on practical jokes, though I do like the big long con kind of jokes, like getting the kids to Disney without them knowing we were going. What's in the cup tonight, Sarah Lynn? It is usually perpetually these days a Kentucky Mule, which is bourbon, simple syrup with lime, and ginger ale. That's kind of the go-to when I have a drink these days. Who is my co-host in the background? I think you may be seeing the Pope hat that I bought very much as a gag because of something you said, Brian, at one point in the past that I got to use. I put on Braille and use in worship this week to be the impressive clergyman from The Princess Bride. Who would play you and Bree in a movie of your life? Who would play me? Me would probably be... I don't even know. Probably Matthew McConaughey would be my guess. No. Jack Black, probably, or Zach Galifianakis would probably play me. Bree... Probably Anne Hathaway, maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't. That's a good question, though. I'll ask Bree later and see how close I got. Name a game, made up or otherwise, that you enjoyed as a kid, but kids don't do much of today. So across the street from my house, growing up on 12th Avenue in Menominee, there was this field, but it kind of dipped down. And when there were big rainstorms, it would probably flood a good 6 inches. And it would be fun to go and run and like kind of swim in there and play in there until the earthworms started coming up through the ground. But that was that was a lot of fun. I don't see kids doing that a lot today, but that could just be because I don't have a ditch like that nearby. What was time recorded differently during certain books in the Bible, like people being over 400 years old? The first calendars really were like lunar cycles, and so they were probably fairly accurate. I know what you're talking about, Destiny. There are folks that are 400, 900 years old. So there are lots of theories around that. And I don't know that I have a good answer for that. I don't think it was just recorded differently. It could have been that it was perceived differently. It could also be a way of denoting wisdom, maybe. Not quite sure, but that's a good question. I'll take a look at that. Favorite Christmas cookie? My mom usually makes a no-bake chocolate oatmeal cookie that I love a lot. She didn't make them this year, and I'm okay with that. So took a screenshot of a co-hosted. Was it one of the kids? I'm gonna take a look on my phone here. I'm not. Let's see. Posted in my time. Oh, you gave me Bernie. Oh, thanks for that. I appreciate that, Brian. Let's see. Favorite Christmas song. I'm gonna go Silent Night. Usually, okay. So when I was young, it was one I just really liked to sing. My dad has 8mm video of me somewhere talking about how that was my favorite one to sing in a choir concert when I was a kid. But these days, A Silent Night is my favorite on Christmas Eve because it's usually the last song, which means the service is over, and ultimately, I usually have at least 3 services on Christmas Eve. So that last time you sing it is like, I can go home and I can go to bed. So yeah. Would you rather be able to fly like a bird, swim like a fish, or run like a gazelle? I have experienced swimming and running. So of course I would like to fly like a bird. Yeah. All right. Some good questions going on. All right. Here's the last one from the cards for tonight. Would you rather go 30 days without your phone, or your entire life without dessert? Like my entire life without dessert immediately following dinner, or my entire life without any kind. That's honestly, I would love to go 30 days without my phone. One of my favorite things that happens when we go on vacations, typically, at least the last couple that Bree and I have been able to do on our own, is the ability to shut off a lot of the electronics, a lot of the things, and just be present in the moment, not worrying about what's in the email inbox, that kind of thing. So, all right. Chris says, name a memory that you still have a crystal clear picture of in my mind. Who? I have several, and they come and go, right? Though, so sometimes I'll, you catch a smell of something on the air, and it just kind of takes you back. But I remember when I was a kid, there was a thing that was called the punt, pass, and kick competition. You were judged by how far you could punt the ball, pass the ball, kick the ball, and you qualify, and then you get to go do spring training. Well, not spring training, but training with a football team, right? So I got to go to the punt, pass, and kick pro set, playoff, sport cards, whatever thing with the Packers. And I remember very, very clearly getting to play catch a little bit with Brett Favre. That will always be clear in my mind. It was a lot of fun. And my hands hurt for a while. All right. Excuse me. Favorite rainy day activity. Let's see. Favorite rainy day activity, Netflix, Hulu, playing, I want to say playing games with the kids, but my kids both have a horrible time losing. So those aren't, but I like my kids get Kiwi crates, Tinker crates, those kinds of things. We get them that for their birthday each year, and they get a thing every month, and they can build stuff. And I like doing those on rainy days with them. Those are fun. Favorite verse from Exodus. Maddie, have you read Exodus? It's a very long book. Lots and lots of verses, and I know you've never been in my youth group, because you were barely born when I was leading youth groups, but it was it was a well-known joke that any passage I opened up to is my favorite passage. So favorite from Exodus. I'm a fan of the Ten Commandments. Bigger fan of the burning bush. But Exodus in and of itself is a great story. To see interaction between God and God's people, and just that formation, that's really where the Hebrew faith really starts to take shape. Yeah. So probably best is going to be is going to be the burning bush, that call, that this ground you are standing on is holy ground. Best memories you have of your grandfathers. Like my grandpa Bill, my dad's dad, who my dad's the one asking this. My grandpa Bill did a lot of good things. Like he cut people's grass and he wouldn't take money for it, and I would cut grass with him and he wouldn't let them pay me, but he'd pay me, kind of thing. Um, I remember probably junior high, high school, like maybe once a week. He would come over in the morning and bring donuts for me and my brother before we went to school. That was always nice. My grandpa Carl, my favorite and near crystal clear memory was after we moved into our house on 12th Avenue. He had to run a drain line for a new washer. And I don't know that he was a measure twice, cut once kind of guy, but like he was trying to run the drain pipe from the washer to this little basin floor kind of sink in the basement just for the washer to empty out into. And he didn't have enough pipe, apparently, PVC pipe. And so instead of trying to go around an air duct, he got a big drill bit and cut through the air duct and ran the water drain pipe through the air duct and then down. That is one of the best memories I have of my grandpa Carl. It was like one of those things you might see on like the Red Green show. If women don't find you handsome, they might as well find you handy, right? So that's probably one of the best. All right. Any other questions? Keep them coming. Jeff Fulton just says nope. I'm guessing he doesn't have any questions, so that's all right. All right. All right. Oh, Kayla, basketball number in high school was 42. All right. That's good. All right. So let's see. Oh, I read those last week. Here we go. November 4th, 1990. I bet my dad the Packers would lose against the 49ers, and they did. Today I caught my brother's cold, but so far it isn't real bad. P.S. Today I had 5 cups of hot cocoa. November 5th, 1990. I got a bad cold and a bad rash, and the rash really itches a lot. I saw my friend JR's mom. I was also put in a slower math group. That should not surprise anybody with every answer to every math question for me being 42. I want to point out I spelt cold, COOLED. Yeah, I should have also probably been put in a slower reading group as well. November 6th, 1990. I stayed home from school because I was sick. I slept most of the day. I did my homework at 4 o'clock and got done at 5 o'clock. I might stay home tomorrow. And then November 7th, 1990. And keep those questions coming, folks. Today, I went to school and stayed half the day because I barfed at 12:30 and went home at 12:35. Then I tried to sleep, but I couldn't, so I did my homework instead. Then I went to my grandma's and stayed there the whole night. My dad is an idiot. He made me eat a bar of soap, and I couldn't breathe. P.S. My dad is the weirdest man in the world. And I have a feeling my kids are thinking the same thing. So I don't remember why I had to eat a bar of soap. I'm sure I cussed. And I can say, what are we at? 31 years later, my dad is still probably one of the weirdest dudes in the world. So that's it from the journal. Any questions? Anybody has, you can give them. Kiddos, you got any questions for dear old dad?
Well, I think dad was the weirdest dad in the world and an idiot. I think Kayla and me want maybe one or two questions.
Uh-oh. Everyone, run away.
So what do you have a question for me, Braylee?
Nope.
No?
Except I do have a joke.
All right, let's hear a joke.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
No. No. Do you have a question for me, Michaela?
Why were you allowed to skip school?
I wasn't allowed to skip school.
Well, then why did you stay home?
Because I was sick.
Yeah, you said I might stay home tomorrow. It sounded like you made it a choice.
I was sick. And I came home at a half day because apparently my parents made me go, and then I threw up at school.
Why did you write you throwing up after you said you were going to stay home?
Because that's how it happened, I guess. You can go away now, Detective Michaela. Part of the reason you guys are never able to really fake being sick and not going to school is because I faked being sick and not going to school so much.
So anybody got a question for Kayla or me?
Or
This is not ask. You guys can go back. You guys can go back. Go sit. Go do whatever. Seriously. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Some people's kids, eh? Tell the Tommy Chong story. You know, I feel like I remember the Tommy. Like, is this the one where like you took me out of school to go see Tommy Chong? I think that's all that is, right? There's not a whole lot of story to it. Except the whole my dad, who has never so much as smelled weed in his life, took me out of school to go meet Tommy Chong. Linda, do I like chicken pot pie? Sure, who doesn't? We're chicken pot pie fans around here. I know Michaela likes it a lot.
Braylee just said it's the worst.
All right. Other questions? Hit me up.
Ooh, I'll hit you.
All right. So Destiny wants to know how much time does it take to get the online Sunday service ready? So I about figured it out this week. It is about 15 hours more than just doing a regular Sunday service, because you got to think through shots and recording and how things are gonna, do you want a live background? Do you want a green screen background? But just straight up the editing took almost 8 hours this week. Just the editing. And then you add on a couple hours for recording, trying to keep the kids in line while we're doing recording of things. And it takes quite a bit extra. Popcorn or potato chips? Tamika, I think I'm a popcorn fan, especially when you make it. So yeah, popcorn is the way to go. All right, other questions? Are all the United Methodist Church churches doing all this online services? So a lot of them are. A lot of them, some of them are doing some hybrid forms. I have friends who are doing parking lot services, where people drive into the parking lot and they're like in the building, or if the weather's nice outside, and they're using an FM transmitter so that people can tune in on their FM dial and listen and do drive-in church, that kind of thing. So every church is doing things different based on their ability, based on what they know and what they can do. I happen to have been into photography and videography, and had done a bit of dabbling with video editing and things. And so for us, for Cherry Hill and for St. Matthews, it's very much been just steering into what I know. There are churches that have bigger staffs, that have more people, that know more things, that do substantially bigger productions than what I'm able to do. Some churches, it is simply it's the pastor sitting in front of their laptop, much like I am now, and maybe they sing a hymn a cappella, do a prayer, read the scripture, give the sermon, and a blessing, and it's done. It really depends on the church. Part of the reason we were able to go from the bishop asking us to close in-person worship to on a Friday to having something on that Sunday is because it's in my wheelhouse of things that I know how to do. There are churches who are now considering hiring full-time, well, not full-time, but staff, hiring staff anyway, to be able to do some of that work. I know for me, like if I had a videographer and an editor, it would take a lot of stuff off of my plate. But it would also put me under the time gun a whole lot more. All right, so let's see. Yes, my mute button works when my kiddos are needing a little bit of correction. It does work. Which of the awesome stockings your wife has made is your favorite? I love them all, and she is very talented. And I love getting surprised with those stockings. I would say probably going back to the first ones, because I know the gut wrenching hours she put into those. So some of the first ones are the Doctor Who stocking and the Stargate stocking. I know she put a whole lot of time into that. Was when she was just really learning how to do the knitting for those. Linda wants to know, can I recommend some Psalms other than 23 or 100 for comfort at a time like this? I certainly can. Though from memory is going to be a bit difficult, so I'm going to open up my Bible here. Let's see. Yeah, Psalm 51 is a big one for me. Let's see. And Psalm 1, Psalm 51, and I think 43 are fairly big ones, good comfort ones for me. Also good for mission and purpose and direction. My dad asks, in light of all you've learned during the pandemic, do you anticipate any use changes in church building is all clear signal is given. Okay. So I don't know about an all clear signal being given, but I do know there's going to come a point where everybody has the vaccine available and we are, as safe as we can make it. There's going to come that point. Yes, I anticipate use changes simply because I think we'll be looking at being more fully back in our buildings before things are in a place where we can say hold a bunch of Sunday school classes or do youth group or that kind of thing like we used to do. And so those spaces, I think churches will do well to not simply reserve them and say, oh, well, that's the Sunday school room and it's going to be the Sunday school room. I think, I think of the churches I'm currently serving, can that space be used for food storage, for a food pantry so that people can come and get food if they need it? Can we set up a room as a broadcast space because internet virtual kind of ministry is a thing that we can do now that we're figuring out. I think probably a lot more use as a building use as a community center. Engaging our buildings in that way so that people can utilize them easier and less expensively. All right. What is the most fun thing you do as a father? Oh my gosh. Tickling is great. I love to tickle. I like surprising them. I like making them think one thing and then it's another. I like when I get one-on-one time with the kiddos in the car and we can just talk about stuff that's important to them. That's not one sibling interrupting the other. It's nice having them both together sometimes, but Michaela is less likely to open up if Braylee's in the car about something that's bothering her, or something she's thinking about. I like it's fun. It's fun for me to see them growing into their senses of humor, making jokes, laughing at things, and really just watching them grow. It's amazing. I remember when Michaela was born, when I first became a dad, all of the things that were open to her and all of the choices she's made along the way and what she's interested in, what she wants to do. And, seeing her, take some writing seriously, has been really cool. And so probably the funnest thing I get to do as a dad, is when I see they're interested in something, encourage them in that. Michaela has an interest in robotics. And when we realize that, okay, well, we're researching, are there robotics clubs that she can go into if that's what she wants to do? Are there robotics kits we can get her so she can learn some programming and putting things together and the mechanics of it? I love doing that stuff. I love, encouraging them in the things that they're interested in. That's probably the funnest thing. All right. Any other questions? It's okay if there's not. We can always end a little early, but I like to save room. So I want to point out I started doing the Ask Mike Anything because one of my favorite authors, Jonathan Mayberry. He's not a theologian. He's done writing for Marvel. He's written tons of novels, does fantasy, science fiction-y kind of stuff, thriller, horror. There's all sorts of stuff blended together. And at the beginning of the pandemic, he started doing an Ask Me Anything. And I don't always get to tune in, but on occasion I do, and it's always a blessing to see the questions of other fans, to add some questions to that, and to see how excited he is about the worlds he's created. He's as excited about his characters as the fans are about his characters. Oh, that's pretty cool. And I thought maybe there are people who want to know, what a pastor's thinking. What were you thinking when you wrote that sermon this week? Why? What was the process in getting to that? In particular, like this week. This week we had The Princess Bride, one of my all-time favorite movies. Has influenced me in my humor and in my outlook on life more than any movie I can think of, for the most part. And why did I focus in on Miracle Max? Why did I focus in on that one line of his? What was it about that? What was it in my, so there are those kinds of things that I think, sometimes people might be interested in. And sometimes we talk about my favorite Christmas cookies. Leslie wants to know, what is the hardest aspect of pastoring during the pandemic? The hardest part is not being able to be physically present with people. I have a feeling that in the future, the way seminaries are going to look at things is going to be very different in the training of pastors, because there is so much that is physical proximity, physical touch, the ability to give somebody a hug. I think back to when Carl was at Mott and receiving his cancer treatment. Some of the greatest visits we had from people, other pastors, district superintendents, were not those that came in and talked our heads off. They were those that came and sat with us or gave us a hug, or those kind of folks. So the hardest aspect, like having to learn new things, for some may be a big deal. For me, it wasn't a big deal. But not being able to hug people and be there for people physically in difficult times, that's been really hard. When I have a church member that tests positive for COVID, and the best I can do is pray with them over the phone. That's tough. And and I look forward to a day when we can freely hug each other again and be in each other's presence and not worry so much about infecting each other, about hurting each other with that act of love. So that's been the tough thing. That change. And that's going to be harder coming back too. It's a good question, Leslie. All right. Any other questions? Do Catholics have to confess over the phone? No, that's a question for your priest, Pops. I have a feeling they have a system in place. I don't know exactly what it is. I will say one of the big things I miss is the confessional. Like, I completely, theologically speaking, confession is between me and God, and I can confess anytime I want. But I think there is having that human component there, that priestly component that listens, and that sacramentalizes that and codifies that into forgiveness and absolution is kind of nice. All righty. All right. So if you think of other questions, you go ahead and jot them down. You can send them to me for next week. We will be back next week at 7:00 for more Ask Mike Anything. Please join us for Fun with Faith. Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Same way you found us here is the way we go live for that with me and Bree. And this week for worship, we're looking at the Green Mile. It is our last in the Faith of the Movie series. So please check that out. Oh, what's that? Do you have an ecumenical group that meets pre-pandemic? Not really. I mean, there were meetings and things you could go to. Nothing like I had when I was in the UP, but I'm sure there are. Just lots of stuff going on in this neck of the woods. So, all right, folks, have a great night, and we will see you next week. Peace.